someone is losing their mind over you in a way that it is consuming them. I was hearing bamboozled by your love. And it's, when you're kind of like, you haven't experienced this yet, and you're kind of like, yeah, well, love at first sight, that does not exist. But when they met you, they looked at you and something so intense came over them that it felt, like when you're getting hit by lightning, struck, hit by some force, what I mean? Like, people, when they think about Cupid, when they think about Cupid's arrow, it was, you looked at that person and something hit them. They were not prepared. That's why they feel bamboozled. It's because it hit them out of nowhere. And it's like, I'm stuttering. They felt like I can't even get a word out because what is happening to me? I need help. They were almost about to faint or about to it really felt like falling in love. There was this meme once that I saw and I just had to laugh so hard at it. It was just like this man falling, stumbling, falling, just you see him falling, to the ground. Is like, this is what it feels like to fall in love, because you're getting hit by this force, and then boom, and you're knocked out. And this is how they feel about you. But I have to tell you something about this reading, okay? This is not a normal reading. This is not your average kind of love connection. What I was picking up on here is soul recognition. And I don't know if you resonate, but basically, when you looked at each other, something about your eyes is very, very important in this connection. So when you looked at each other, there was this intense feeling of familiarity, kind of like the feeling of I know you, but it doesn't make sense because we haven't met yet. But like in a movie, when people fall in love, right? And they touch for a brief second. They touch and suddenly, boom, all these memories come crashing down. Like these memories of past lives are all over in your mind, and you're like, what is going on? Or they look into each other's eyes and suddenly time is standing still and everything is moving slow, and they just look at each other. And their hearts already know that there is something deeper. And the message that I was channeling here was, I knew I loved you before I met you. It's as if I had been searching all my life. And you probably know this song by Savage Garden. It's one of my favorites. It's called I Knew I Loved You Before I Met You. And to me, it's kind of like the ultimate twin flame song. Well, I am on the twin flame journey. It's been 2.5 years, and that was basically the song that kind of described it best, what happened to me. And by the way, I know a lot of you guys, I've just been doing a poll here on the channel. A lot of you guys have been asking me, well, but why is the difference, between meeting your soulmate and meeting your twin flame? And while the soul recognition is definitely one of the parallels, this happens when you have a soul bond or a soul connection, which is basically twin flame, soulmate, counterpart. If you're curious to kind of find out, have I really met my twin flame? I've just published an entire checklist. It's free to download. It's down below my stand store. Check it out if you want to just find out more about what it really means to meet your twin flame. But that soul recognition is basically you meet this person, and it doesn't matter whether you meet them in real life or you just see them online, because the soul recognition happens through the eyes. It happens basically when you look at that person through your eyes. It's kind of unlocking these memories of your soul, this soul connection. You have an intense feeling. You just can't explain it. a sense of warmth, a sense of familiarity. It's also very intense because when you look at them, you can't escape them. You can't somehow, when you look at them, I don't know how to explain it, but you get sucked into their energetic field and you cannot stop. You're almost drawn to them in a supernatural way, in a way that feels otherworldly. And even though your logical mind can't really comprehend what's going on, you're trying to figure it out. You're like, I don't know you, but I feel like we have lived lifetimes together. We have ancient history. It's like your mind is trying to make sense of it. And this is basically what has happened to them. So what I was picking up on was that in the beginning, whoever this is, they were trying to figure it out on a logical level. So their logical mind was like trying to deny the whole thing. And at the same time, the soul already knows what is going on. And this is often the case when you're in the beginning of such a journey. When you're meeting your soulmate, that might also happen, but mainly when you're meeting your twin flame, you're overwhelmed by this, you know? They're seeing synchronicities on the daily. And I was picking up on them being flooded with these memories. And it feels as if you have lived lifetimes together. So there was just so much that I was picking up on it. So in the beginning, whoever this is, they felt like they were going crazy, overwhelmed, yet it's kind of like two things at once. A part of them was overwhelmed by how much they really feel for you. It's like there has been some sort of vault where all these deep emotions lie, you know, almost like in their heart, there was a part that was locked away, and then you came along and it all came out. Like, you had unlocked a part of their heart that's never been unlocked by anyone ever before. And that's why they kept kind of like trying to build up a wall, but it was impossible because with that soul connection, you can't keep up a wall. There's no way to run or to hide from this. So this is kind of like there was a back and forth going on between you both, where your souls already knew on a deeper level that there is no use in running, and also there is no reason to run because you both have only the best intentions for each other. But I feel that in the past, because both of you have been hurt so bad in other relationships, and not only romantic relationships, by the way, I want to emphasize this because that's been an insight on my own twin flame journey recently. It's not only about what you have experienced maybe in your last romantic relationship, or even maybe you got divorced and you're kind of like this experience made you feel a certain type of way about love. But no, it's about all these experiences that we had throughout our lives where this person is your mirror, helping you to overcome it, helping you to not hold on to this anymore. It's like what I was picking up on as well. So there is a lot, and I'm rambling. I have a tendency to ramble. So let me really quickly get into what I channeled through music. And by the way, music is such an amazing way to channel messages from your person. It's like, the way that I would describe it is when you're having telepathy or thought transmission, you often think about sending a word to someone. You're kind of saying a word or you're saying an affirmation, and then it goes into the other person's mind. But it's not just words, you know? The way I see it, it's a whole energetic connection. And it's a two-way street. It's not only that you send your message to them, but you're also able to tap into their deeper feelings, into their higher self. So even, let's say you're in no contact, even though they're not communicating in the physical, you can still find out what they're thinking, what they're feeling, like their deeper layers. And that is such an amazing way, because it just gives you more insights, and it stops you from looking at your physical, freaking out, spiraling. Gives you a sense of fulfillment within. And I have collected all my tips on how to do it, tapping into what they're thinking, what they're feeling, but also connecting on that level of your heart space, to open your heart, to kind of let this love in, to let go of everything that has happened previously in your past, and open your heart for this connection, for this higher love, for being taken as you are and taking the other person unconditionally on the level of this. And if you're curious on how that works, how to communicate telepathically, I've packed over 22 practical exercises that helped me on my own journey in this workbook. It's been such a work of love putting it out there. It's taken months and months, and I'm just so happy. I've put it on sale. Check it out. It's linked down below. But there was a song. It's by Carole King. I didn't know her before. These songs just come to me, and I'm like, okay, and it's called So Far Away. And I feel like there is physical separation between you. You might have also never met each other physically, or at least just for a brief moment. And the song, I'm just going to read you a little bit of the lyrics here. If I could only work this life out my way, I'd rather spend it being close to you, but you're so far away. So they miss your presence, okay? They really not only miss you, when you're like, I missed you, I miss talking to you, or, just like these conversations, but they miss your body. I feel like whoever this is, they are very focused on the physical side of it. So they're thinking about simple things like hugging you, holding your hand, kissing you. That alone would bring them such a fulfillment. Seeing their heart really light up, when a heart is like illuminated. This is what I'm seeing. This is what they're feeling, thinking about this. That's why they're thinking about this so often. I don't see it as an obsession that is unhealthy. I'm seeing this as returning to your connection, and they're returning over and over. So they're also saying, you're my lucky star. You could see stars as a symbol of your connection. And there was an angel number that came up over and over again. It was 333. It could also be that your lucky number is 13, because I saw 1313 the other day. So 31 could be 31. You could also be 31 years old, is what I'm hearing, or they could be 31. And they're a lot of times they're just wondering what you're doing. So they're kind of, when they're waking up in the morning, they're thinking about you, and they're wondering what you're doing. When they're awake at night, kind of thinking about you, but they're also dreaming themselves away, where it's like they're in bed and they would hold the pillow. I know it sounds a little, but that's what they kind of do. They hold the pillow and imagine it's you and stuff like that. It's really such a sweet energy. This is very much a soft person. At heart, they are a real lover, but on the outside, they often try to play it cool. But in the moments when they're alone, they are just longing to hold you. And I feel like holding you, that alone would make them so happy. So there is another song. It's by James Arthur, and I had also never heard it before. It's Say You Won't Let Go. And I'm telling you, that video, I'm a Pisces moon and I cry a lot. And when I saw the video, I was just sobbing, okay? So it's such a beautiful, like this energy is, I want to be with you for the rest of my life. I'm sure, I want this. And in the lyrics, he says, I knew I loved you then, but you'd never know because I played it cool when I was scared of letting go. I knew I needed you, but I never showed. But I want to stay until we're gray and old. And in that video, it's basically black and white, and it tells this story of this couple. They're together, growing old together, growing old until, one of them is leaving, and then the other person is like devastated. And that alone made me sob. So they're really, I'm seeing them. They are kind of that type of person who would play out the entire love story, if you know what I'm saying. So they met you, and of course, logically, it made no sense why they feel so connected to you, but that does not stop them from looping this, from looping the way that your life could play out together. And quite honestly, they don't see a life without you. There is also another song that came to me, Ambrosia, Biggest Part of Me. I'm gonna drop the songs down below as always. And by the way, you can always drop your favorite songs that you channeled yourself, that your person sent you down below. I'm curious to read more about those. And it is like, you're the biggest part of me. And what I'm feeling when I'm hearing this is like, you are really their other half, okay? And that kind of plays together with the message that came through from their higher self, which is, when I met you, my entire world shifted in the matter of seconds. Who I was before you, I don't know. Sometimes it feels as though I had wandered this world in search of that missing piece. And then there was you. I swear, in this moment, when our eyes met, I felt something I had never felt before. You were never a stranger to me. It was not like just meeting you, okay? This is what I can tell you. When they met you, it wasn't just like meeting any other stranger. When you meet someone and you get along and you're really happy because finally, you meet someone who's like at your level, same vibe. But no, it was really remembrance. A remembrance of the heart and soul is what I'm hearing. And they want you to know that they feel it too, that they know how special this connection is. And not always, this is the interesting thing. And believe me, I've been through the highs and lows on my own twin flame journey. It's not always been super easy. And it's not like you're choosing this. I do believe in it, that we're choosing this. But in some way, you're kind of thrown into it. And then you're faced with all these intense emotions, and there's no way to run. There's nowhere to hide because you're always drawn back to this person inevitably. And this, in the beginning, like, it can lead to this person not really, stepping forward or making a move. But that's not because they don't love you, okay? I want you to know that. Just because your twin flame is not approaching you right now, that does not take away from the fact that they carry unconditional love for you in their heart. I want you to really know this, because this insight was one of the biggest insights for me on my personal journey. And by the way, if you want a free checklist of like the signs that you might be on a twin flame journey, go to the link down below. I also offer personalized guidance sessions in case you want guidance on your own journey. You want to just talk in a safe space, get a little bit of advice from me, because the entire workbook that I created on telepathy is basically the lessons I have learned on my twin flame journey. It's like where I was faced with pretty much the biggest challenge, I guess, was like missing him, missing my person, my other half. And it was devastating. Okay, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There were times where I felt all sorts of emotions. I felt angry. I was like, this is not fair. It's not fair that I'm on this. Like, I didn't sign up for this. Why is this happening to me? And why do other people they're in a normal kind of relationship and this is not normal? And you're at the same time, you feel like you're going crazy because stuff is happening to you that is so out of this world that if you tell someone about it, they will view you as, okay, this time you've really lost your mind. So you're kind of like, you feel very much alone in this. And the thing that helped me most was realizing that at the level of my soul, there is no separation. I am never separate from my twin flame because there is no such thing as separation. What we see as, okay, we're not in contact, there's like obstacles in the way, that's what we see on the outside, but that's not all there is. And that helped me so much. And there are so many ways of like tuning into this, connecting on the level of your heart to send them love. And believe me, when I'm telling you, they can feel it. Like, I've had times where I was so overwhelmed with love myself, where I was like, you never know what they're doing on the other side. They might be thinking about you at the same time, which is often the case with telepathy. So just because you can't see it in the physical does not mean that it's not there. And I want you to know this, kind of like insight number 2 here. Tune into your unconditional love, okay? Because when you tune into your love for your twin flame or your counterpart, your soulmate, your person, right? Then there is no space for fear and doubting, because at the core of everything, like, love is the truth of this connection. Like, anything else that is above it is kind of like a layer of stuff that we have learned from our past relationships, or maybe fears that we keep projecting onto them. And like, I don't know how to explain it. You might know this when you're in a soul connection as well. When you look into this person's eyes, you feel such a deep, deep love and affection and like acceptance of all there is. Like, when you come back to this over and over again, this is your guiding light. This is your anchor in this connection. And as I've said, I have created tons of exercises just to help you, just sharing what worked for me to help you to tap more into this instead of, going into what's not working, what's separating you, and the problems and issues in the physical. So if you want to learn more about this, the link's down below. It's currently on sale. It's my telepathy workbook or thought transmission workbook. And now let's get into a message from them. Okay, but I kind of want to get into what they're thinking and feeling. Okay, there's a card that flipped her. Oh my God, okay. It's the card of Gemini. And let's see. Spirit, can you give us a little bit of a glimpse of what they're feeling right now in this moment, okay? Is there something that they might be hiding? Okay, interesting. Okay. First of all, we have a Gemini coming up. They could be a Gemini, or you could be. Or overall, what is the energy? It's really much about logic, about planning, about communicating. I feel like you're both communicating a lot on this level of your consciousness. So whatever you've been doing as of thought transmission, like telepathy between you, is very strong. So don't be mistaken, even though in the physical it might not have picked up, as like movements, that you want to see does not mean it's not working. So you're called to tune more into the unseen than into the seen. You know, don't rely too much on what you can see with your eyes. Because the truth of this connection happens on the level of consciousness. There is the card of misfortune. There is a lot of heaviness within this person's heart, kind of almost grieving their life, grieving a past that has not been blessed. Okay, so this is kind of like what they feel sometimes when they're in their darkness. They feel like, why am I the one, you know, who always has this misfortune? They could be a little bit of, you know, like someone who likes to wallow and be like, oh my God, like, look at my life, you know? But the thing with you is you kind of unlocked a wish in them, the man's wish. This is basically where I'm seeing like a turning point. You meeting them was like a turning point where their values recalibrated, is what I'd say, and they were motivated to become another person. But it was only meeting you was what unlocked that. You know, it was only until they met you that this was unlocked. And now they're kind of, I'm seeing them working on a plan. And it's interesting. There's this, there's like this, like scissors and a mannequin, and you know, it's like giving. When you make a piece of clothing, you kind of want to pick out the fabric. You want to have a certain plan, like what it looks like a pattern and everything, and you want to stitch it together in the right way. So they kind of are cautious to move in the right way so that this plan works out. So even though on the outside they might seem not like unimpressed, almost unmoved, stoic, there are a lot of emotions underneath the surface, and a lot of them holding back stems from them being hurt in the past. Being hurt in such a way that they almost closed off their heart entirely, because they were like, listen, like if I have to go through that heartbreak again, I'm not going to survive it. And I'm also hearing there's a web on there, like a spider web. I'm hearing that they've been caught in a web of lies all their life. They felt like they've been lying to themselves and to others, which led them to misfortune. And that relationship with you that they're now developing is, well, first of all, pleasure is leading to the pleasure they've been looking for all their lives, but more so with that lies. I'm seeing with you, I can be honest, is what they're saying. Because of this level of authenticity that you both give each other just by being raw, you know, like you're raw. The way that you're communicating in the astral, there are no barriers. There are no blocks, because it's impossible, because you can't lie to each other. And therefore, you're kind of forced to drop the masks. But this inevitably leads you to a more wholesome and fulfilled relationship. Like this is what you were always meant to have. And when we're looking at the planets here, which is also very interesting, we have Saturn, okay? Saturn is the teacher. It's not bad to experience Saturn. You know, I've been through my Saturn return and it's been awful, okay? The time itself, it was hard, okay? I've battled with addiction and all sorts of things until my life came crashing down. And I was faced with either I learn the lesson, okay, and I act differently, or it's gonna repeat over and over again until I learn my lesson. And I feel this is what's happening with you both at the same time, even though you might be in no contact right now. So what I'm hearing, or you might not be in the relationship you want to be in together, is like you're learning these lessons. And Saturn is basically a hard teacher. It teaches through like just the hard way, okay? It's like not very, you know, like roses and butterflies and cute, and we're also happy, you know, and life is always perfect. No, it's like it teaches you through hardship. And then out of this is like this Venus energy is emerging, and that is the energy of beauty, pleasure, love. It's like this richness and pleasure is emerging because you are both able to face your shadows and your difficulties and not show up as the person that is scarred, that is hurt, and acting out of this hurt, acting out of the past experiences. You're kind of called to let it go, like let the past go for good. And sometimes, you know, we're kind of mad because we're like, oh my God, why am I not already in the physical in this relationship? But it's because you're meant to unite physically once you have transcended these lessons. So it's not a matter of divine timing, it's more so a matter of you being the person you would be. Like, think about it for a second. Like, who would you be? Like, when you're tuning into this version of reality where they love you unconditionally and you love them unconditionally, and you're really in this fulfilled relationship, like, who would you be? And then you're basically showing up every day as this person, and you're inevitably drawing this into your reality by doing so. And it's such a beautiful reading. I don't want to ramble too long, guys. By the way, if you want to work with me, book a personal reading or a personal session, I offer one-on-one calls for any kind of manifestation or your spiritual journey. Click the link down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. As always, drop your favorite songs down below. No joke, I'm reading the comments and I'm always like eager to really listen to them because music is such a big part of this journey, I feel, and it's telling you more than just the lyrics. You know, when you listen to a song, it's kind of like you're being taken into this world. So I'm curious, and I'm also gonna drop the songs of today down below. That was it for today. I'm rambling again. Download your checklist, your twin flame checklist. Let me know, are you on the twin flame journey as well? What have you learned so far? Don't panic. It's definitely, it gets better. I'm like 2.5 years in, it definitely gets better. It's not there to torture you, to torment you. It's really there to elevate you, make your life better, believe me. And well, that was it. I want to see you around in the next one.